You serious? Rotate your phone. Hi everybody. Hope you can see us and hear us. It said rotate your phone, so I hope you're not seeing us like that. If you are, just try to turn your phone. Maybe that will work. So my name is Eva Palakova and I am the owner and co-founder of Blooming Beets Kitchen. Last week I shared with you a little bit about the strategy and where we're headed with Blooming Beets, and a little bit about my passion, which is creating a community of people that are really passionate about, you know, this thing called the paleo diet and keto and Whole30 and all this really, really fun stuff, and people who are really committed to our, you know, responsibility for our vitality and things like that. So every Monday at 6 p.m. I will be bringing you experts on nutrition, paleo, hormones, AIP, keto, things like that. And we'll be getting some questions answered about things that are super, super important. So this week, this is our very, very first live. To be honest, I'm like a little bit of nervous about this because I don't know the technology all too well. So this week, I wanted to bring in Angie Spuzak. And the topic is PMS. And so if we have any guys here listening, you can just like shut this off and not listen, or you can stay and listen if you want to learn about, you know, your partner's monthly issues. But I decided to bring in this issue, well, first of all, because I have suffered from PMS for years and years and years, and it didn't matter what I did, kind of like all the cleanup and paleo and, you know, breathing and meditating and exercising, it still seems to be a really, really, really painful issue for me. So I'm hoping to learn something from Angie today. And also, I wanted to talk about this because it's kind of like if you go to work and you have a headache and somebody asks you, hey, what's wrong? You can say, oh, I have a headache. Now, when you go to work and you're dealing with PMS, you can't say, hey, I'm PMSing. I'm actually feeling really, really crappy and I'm feeling super emotional, so don't say anything. That's gonna offend me because I'm gonna feel really, really anxious and I'm gonna have an emotional meltdown. And you know, that's basically how I feel sometimes. So anyhow, Angie is a nutritional consultant. She's also a personal chef. And by the way, the kinds of people that I bring you every Monday are people who are really, really, really good, who have helped transform lives. And oftentimes you can't even get an appointment with them because they're really, really good. So this is your opportunity to ask questions and learn something from the experts in the industry. So Angie, where do we get started?
Yeah, so we'll be talking about PMS, and I will be talking a little bit at the beginning what that is, and then what we can do in order to relieve the symptoms. So nowadays, 90% of women are suffer from PMS, which is really unheard of because like 50 years ago, there was really hardly any women suffering from that. And so PMS, what PMS means is a set of symptoms that now just even start like 2 weeks before your period. Some women, usually they start like 7 days, but some women go through this even 2 weeks before their period. So this is just not like an easy something thing, because for the 2 weeks before we period, we're really not ourselves, and we have a lot of symptoms. We have like bloating, we have water retention, we gain weight, we suffer from anxiety, we have a brain fog, and the list just goes on and goes on. And so why are we suffering from PMS? Well, there's many different reasons, and one like the main common reason is that we have imbalance in our hormones, and usually that happens between estrogen and progesterone. So what that means that we have too much estrogen to progesterone, and if we have too much estrogens, that's why we're suffering from all those symptoms, and that is called like estrogen dominance. So this is even worse than PMS because it's really kind of hard to get rid of, and you have also other symptoms like hair loss and like the symptoms I mentioned before. But it's also if you have too much estrogen in your body and that estrogen is not the good estrogen, then you suffer, you know, it can cause like cancer, it's carcinogenic. So pretty much, you know, you can have a breast cancer, endometriosis, all of those cancers are estrogen driven. And another one is toxicity. This is huge. Like, you know, 100 years ago, we didn't have so much toxin. Our body our liver just cannot detoxify any of those toxins, and that's why it accumulates in our body, and then we have PMS. So that's also, it's in relation to estrogen, because our liver detoxify estrogens, and we have like two phases of liver detoxification, phase 1 and phase 2, and phase 2 also has 6 liver pathways detoxification. So they all have to pretty much work properly in order to eliminate our estrogens. Otherwise, if we don't eliminate estrogens, it kind of recirculates in our body, and we have even more estrogen, and this estrogen is not healthy estrogen we need. Another
any
questions?
Yeah, can I ask you a question? I'm wondering, okay, so you're saying the one problem is producing too much estrogen in your body, and the other issue is not detoxifying or releasing it properly. Am I understanding it correctly?
Well, we're not producing too much estrogen, so but because of that detoxification, we have so many toxins that they are actually, like, they called xenoestrogens. So this is like extra estrogen that comes from environment and comes like from BPA and cosmetics and laundry detergents and things like that.
Wow.
And they kind of get stuck to our healthy estrogen receptors, and they take the space over, and now the healthy estrogens cannot come to our body, to our receptors, but they come to, you know, we have just way too much of it.
Gotcha. I'm just trying to read the question. You keep
the
talking. Yeah.
And another problem is our gut. Gut is so important. We really need to work on our health, to get our gut healthy.
Angie, we are sideways.
Oh.
All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold this for you, and you can talk. No, we're not sideways. Okay, thank you, Nisi.
Yes. So the gut. Yes. So
and thank you, Chris.
The gut is super important for eliminating our estrogens too, and we also even have a set of bacteria which is located in our gut. It's called estrobolome, and is responsible for eliminating and metabolizing our estrogen. So if we have a lot of gut issues like bloating and constipation, and we can go to the bathroom every day, so we're not eliminating, and everything is like, all the toxin become like recirculating in our body, and that's how it happened, that, you know, we still have too much estrogen.
Okay.
So the estrogen is general not bad, but in that situation it's kind of bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a question. What's the quickest, fastest way to find out if I have an estrogen overload?
Well, the quickest way is, you know, you can look at your symptoms. So this is one way, but like if you want to make sure that you have problems with estrogen, you just do the hormone test. And the best hormone test on the market right now, what I'm using, is called the Dutch test, which is pretty amazing because...
Did you say the Dutch test?
Dutch test, like the country.
Dutch test. Yeah, I guess we should post it in comments afterwards. But it's like Dutch, like
the country.
Person
Dutch,
from Poland. Okay, Dutch test.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that test will show you everything about the adrenal health, which is super important also for PMS, because if your adrenals are not healthy, then you're going to have PMS symptoms too. And the Dutch test also tells you about your neurotransmitters, which is pretty awesome. This is another thing, is connection to gut and the brain, and this is the problem with estrogen. And you will know if you have enough of every neurotransmitter. And then it also tells you how you metabolize estrogens. This is super important because, like I mentioned before, the estrogen dominance, it's happening when you have too much estrogen to progesterone. But it also, another part of that is how you metabolize the estrogens. So it's called like the 2,2,16 hydroxy. And so you have like 3 ways of metabolizing estrogens: 2, 4, and 16 hydroxy. And then the 16 is not good, and the 4 is not good, but the 2, it's good. So you want to like strive to have that pathway clear. And it also tells you about melatonin, which is super important in PMS too, because a lot of women who suffer from PMS, they struggle with insomnia. So it gives you also a lot of additional information. And it's a dry urine test, combined now with a little, like one time you have to collect saliva. Yeah.
Okay, just one time.
Yeah, but
okay, this is
you
really
have to
cool.
pee on a strip like 4 or 5 times
Okay.
during the day. Yeah, it's super easy.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I've heard about tests where you have to spit on something every day for a month.
Yeah, and the saliva is, it's difficult to collect.
Yeah.
Some people just like have a hard time.
Gotcha. So let's say that I know from all the symptoms, like I've Googled it and whatnot, and I know from all the symptoms that I probably have an estrogen dominance. What should I do?
Well, the first thing is heal your gut and work on the liver detox. So when you eat clean diet, eat plenty of good fat, but also when you do when you want to detoxify your liver, so you can eat a lot of cruciferous vegetables, and you can use some milk thistle, which is very helpful for clear the liver detoxification pathway. You can get the dandelion, like right now the dandelions are everywhere, so you can just make a tea and drink it, and you can buy them at Whole Foods or natural groceries. And yeah, so eat a lot of dark leafy green vegetables, because they have also a lot of mineral. Because another like a problem with PMS is that we also have a lot of nutrients deficiency, because our gut is not healthy. And if our gut is not healthy, we're not spaced out.
Spaced out. If our gut is not healthy, something with estrogen.
Yeah, we know it's about nutrients. We're just not.
Oh, I know. You're producing too much. You have too much stress, and so you have the pregnenolone steal,
yes,
right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. You were the expert.
Yeah. I'm like, sometimes I get stuck.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then healing the gut again. You can do elimination diet, which is like a very popular diet right now, and it really helps you to just kind of clean your gut. And I've done it a couple times, and you also have to make sure that you don't have candida. Then if you have candida, you can do a different diet for it, but pretty much it's the same. You're eliminating all the foods that are kind of like irritating to you, and then actually maybe you don't even know that they irritating your gut. But then after that, you will know what is actually not good for your body.
Right. So how long, if people decide to go on an elimination diet, how long should it last? What's the process?
Like the proper elimination diet, it should last 3 months, about 3 months. So
wow.
Like the proper one, yeah. You eliminate everything for 1 month, and then 2 months is kind of like reintroduction of the food. So that happens every 3 days. That's why it's going to take 3 months, because
Gotcha.
Pretty much you would have to reintroduce not every food, but like a lot of those foods. So that's why it takes 3 months.
Gotcha. So you would basically take everything out that could be a possible stress to your body, and then you will introduce one food every 3 days, and only one food, so that you're not confused. Okay, now I'm feeling sick, but I introduced 3 things. Now what? Right?
Yeah, exactly. And then you're writing everything in your journal, and you kind of observe your body, kind of getting in touch in your body with your body, and know.
There's some shortcuts, some quick and dirty ways to lower your estrogen levels.
Well, yes, you can take them. So this is diamindalmetin, and it comes from actually cruciferous vegetables, but it's very concentrated.
Gotcha.
That you do when you have like way too much estrogen.
Okay.
And some people just use this as they wish, and this is really not good, because some people, you can even have a low estrogen and low progesterone and be estrogen dominant. So sometimes people just take DIM, but DIM is really for lowering estrogen. But another one, it's also like a good supplement, is calcium diglucarate, and that calcium diglucarate is really awesome, because it actually helps to mitigate how your liver detoxify the estrogen. So this one is really good. But honestly, if you want to have a balance,
say the last thing again that we're supposed to take.
Calcium diglucarate.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it in? What's the vegetables that we should be eating? Do you remember?
No, this is kind of like a synthetic thing. It's probably
gotcha.
with
But cruciferous vegetables can't go wrong, right?
Yeah, no, because they're like very important for a second part of liver detoxification.
Gotcha. So what is some cruciferous vegetables?
Oh, like kale, mustard green, radishes,
Brussels sprouts?
Brussels sprouts.
Yay, Brussels
yes,
sprouts.
cauliflower.
See guys, you can eat Brussels sprouts and blooming beets.
Broccoli, all of those good stuff. You should
Okay.
be eating like 2 cups a day.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Unless you have a thyroid issues, then you have to eat a little bit less, but you still can eat them, but cooked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cooked. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Plus, I think another important part in the PMS is the stress we're living in right now. And, the cortisol produces a lot of inflammation and produces blood sugar spikes. So, and we're not in line in our body as a women in general. So, every woman I talk, they just complain about PMS, they complain about their period, that they just don't want to have it anymore. And I find this really interesting because, this is who we are, and we're going to have a period every month until we get 60 or 55, I think we go through menopause. So we better get used to it, because really it's our connection to this world and to our feminine. And if we kind of align and being in a flow, it's going to be much easier. I know that, we're working so much and we have children and we don't really have time, but really from a couple days before menstruation and 4 or 5 days after menstruation, we're not designed to work like crazy and do any business. We actually designed to rest. Our body, the chemical reaction in our body just literally just saying, no, you can't do this. That's why we so sick with PMS, our back hurts, we don't have energy. And so if we actually can align with that and find maybe I know we're working, but maybe a 1 hour to just take a break and take a bath or something, just give this time to ourselves, our body really is going to appreciate that. And we're going to have a different connection, to our body and our feminine. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah. I never thought about it that way. If we could just take a couple days of vacation every month, that would be pretty great.
Now there's 4 different stages of women flow and in your cycle. So the first stage is 10 days and it's very kind of creative, and you want to go for it and you do that, and that's when you're supposed to do business. And another 5 days they're kind of still the same, but you are slowing down, and then just before your period you slow down, and right after the period you're just going inward and you just pretty much feel everything. I don't know how you guys feel it, but when I get my period it's kind of crazy. I can see everything so clearly. I know what I want to do. I see my mistakes or I see my accomplishment, and I could just connect to my womb and just know and listen, and it's pretty amazing. If you kind of align with that and take a day off on that day, so it's quite fabulous actually.
Interesting. So okay, can I ask you a little bit more about that? So what is could you talk a little bit more about the 4 stages and what is the days and what is that we should be doing?
So for the first 7 days of our period, so this is right out. So this is the first day is our menstruation, right? So for the first days, for the first 5 days, we kind of, we're already been slowing down before, but we're just kind of taking it easy and kind of connecting to our feelings. And then kind of the business period is coming in, and then when you're supposed to plan and super important meeting and make those appointments and be this businesswoman as you want to be, then the next stage is kind of a creative stage that you're wanting to do something new and create art or whatever you're creative in, or you're business but not meetings and something serious. And right 5 days before your period, that's when you're just slowing down, and you don't have too much energy, so you're just kind of being in this reflecting mode. So it's called a reflecting stage.
Yeah. Interesting. So a lot of self-care in that phase too.
Yes, this is so important, our self-care. Yes.
Yeah, it just, for me, it seems like it doesn't matter how much self-care I do. I'm usually pretty good about, staying aware and not believing all of my thoughts and everything that's going on. But in that period, I seem to believe absolutely everything that I'm thinking, and that I get stressed out and anxious about everything. Is that your experience too?
It used to be. I mean, I've done a lot of work on my hormones, so actually nowadays I'm enjoying it, and I can afford to enjoy it. So I literally take 1 or 2 days off when I have my period, and I really listen to my body. And
that's really cool.
yeah, you know, I used to work like crazy. I mean, all the immigrants who comes here, they just, you know, at the beginning when they move, they
Yes,
work like
I do.
crazy. And my body was like, hey, you know, it's time
Yeah.
to slow down. And I kind of did. And, you know, I'm doing everything in a different way now, but I still accomplish the same things. But I take care of my body, you know, I go to yoga 3-4 times a week, and I go hiking, you know, and I really I take baths, I go to hot springs. So I'm trying to take care of myself, because I don't want to be in the same position like I was before, because that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope to someday be in your position where I can just enjoy it.
It's really surprising when you allow it. I'm telling you, 3 years ago, I wouldn't think that that's going to happen, but it's just happening, and it just feels really good.
Yeah. Right. So, I don't know what time it is, but I think we're almost out of time talking about this. I would really love if you could recap. So what do they start with, and where do they go from there? They gotta start with a test, right? Everybody has to know their hormone levels first, right? Before they go anywhere with it.
Yes, that's a good place to start. And then when you get your test results, you can get them. Someone can read them, a naturopath, or I can also read them if you want. And then
that's what you do for a living. So,
yes.
hey, she does that for a living, guys. She'll interpret your hormone levels if you want to work with her.
Yes, and then we can come up with the plan, and I will design them, the plan for you and protocol, and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
And if you just want to do this on your own, just like I said, just do the elimination diet and detox your liver, and work on the getting a lot of vegetables, a lot of fiber in your diet, because this is going to be important also for eliminating estrogen, because the estrogen binds to the fiber, and the fiber removes the estrogen from the body.
Okay, estrogens binds to fiber. So vegetables are everything.
Yeah, vegetables, and especially not the one that they have so many carbs. Just let's eat those non-starchy vegetables, right?
Well, this is really interesting, because I think we're dealing with a lot of people being on ketogenic paleo, and I have done this before, where I forget to eat vegetables,
right?
Or it's the same vegetables over and over and over. So this is something to watch out for, and just get variety, I guess.
Well, yeah, now the keto diet actually incorporates much more vegetables.
Yeah.
So, and kind of for women, what they do, they kind of allow them to eat a little bit more carbs, because women have more sensitive bodies to men. Women have more sensitive bodies to men. So yeah, and carbs super important for women. So yeah, so vegetables are huge.
Gotcha.
Yes.
2 cups a day of cruciferous vegetables.
Yeah,
right?
and then they say 10 cups a day in general of vegetables, right? So dark leafy greens, or even a spring mix, with romaine is good. So lots of this kind of stuff, and you can make this. I make this amazing drink. It's a kind of in the morning. It's like a detox drink. So what I put is a half an avocado, a 1 batch of romaine, and then I add some dark leafy vegetables. I juice 1 lemon because it helps detoxification, and I put cilantro and parsley because that also aids detoxification. So,
is that the liver detox?
Yeah, that would helps to liver detox.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then just put water, and I blend it, and and it's a perfect drink. And actually, because of the avocado, because of the good fat, it keeps you, it keeps me full for quite a bit.
Okay.
So yeah.
Gotcha.
And you can also add some other I like to add spirulina or chlorella, because they're seaweeds, and that they also have a lot of extra minerals and also help with detoxification. So
Gotcha. Okay. So we need to eat leafy vegetables, eat mustard greens, and detox our liver.
yes,
And take it
heal
easy.
your gut.
Heal your gut and take it easy,
Yeah.
and do the hormone test, and work with Angie if you want your hormone test to be interpreted. And it's Dutch.
Yeah, the website is the DutchTest.com, and you can go over there and look around. They have lots of different videos and explaining what they're doing and what the Dutch test is about. So it's kind of you can learn some things.
Okay, that's really, really great. So I guess the answer is there's no easy trick.
No.
I thought you were gonna tell us, hey, you can just eat like some asparagus every month and you're gonna be fine. I guess it's a whole
Yes.
system of things that need to align. Okay, so could you just hold it for a minute? I want to talk about, and thank you so much, Angie. I really appreciate you. Okay, so next week, this is really exciting. We're gonna have Mary Kay Irving, which she's wonderful. She leads local paleo meetups and potlucks, and she's a nutritionist. She has a wonderful practice, and she's going to be talking about ketogenic paleo. And there's a little bit of controversy. Is it good? Is it great for women? What does it do to hormones? And so there's some of the questions that I'm going to ask her, and I know she's really good with her knowledge, and whenever I have a question, I go to her too. So next week, that's at 6 p.m. on Facebook Live, and the week after, we're gonna have Sasha, and I forgot her last name. She's expert on autoimmune protocols. So if you suffer from autoimmune disease, like paleo, Hashimoto's, Crohn's, oh my goodness, there's so many. Arthritis, there's like a bazillion of them. But if you suffer from autoimmune issues, you want to put that week on the calendar, and Sasha's going to answer some of those questions about that. And as you know, we have an autoimmune protocol menu at the restaurant, but I am definitely not an expert on this. I don't suffer from autoimmune. So I just found out about this from our customers who are basically asking, hey, can we have some menu items that are nut-free, nightshade-free, and egg-free? And then I learned a little bit about some of from them, how they have dealt with it. And I've seen customers and I've talked to people who have basically reversed their MS, which is pretty miraculous, I think. And it's all about nutrition and eating right. So, okay, so that's all we have for today. Thank you again, Angie. It was great. Thank you so much. And we will see you guys next week.